Hey there, everyone. Thanks for listening to Limited Engagement. I'm your host for the show, Jared Duran. My guest on this episode is Michael Kurtz, who records under the name buRgandy juRk. And if you're searching them up somewhere, it's buRgandy juRk. And you can find them at buRgandyjuRk.com. I will get to them in a second. So, new complication with recording in the new place is that now I'm just surrounded by people with fucking dogs. I love dogs. I do. I had many of them growing up. I always enjoy spending time with dogs. But for fuck's sake, like seriously, I like this new place. I like my little recording space here / office / laundry room / kitchen / I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But I don't know. This will provide I guess all of my podcasts will now sound something like a Tom Waits album, where you just have all of these noises leaking into it, because the walls here are so thin, and I'm just not investing in the soundproofing stuff, the foam and whatnot. It's just not going to happen. These podcasts don't make enough money, no money to invest in something like that. So you're going to get occasional dog barking and yipping and me sounding more annoyed. So have fun with that. I've been listening almost exclusively to records lately, vinyl, albums, proper. This morning I was spinning, McCartney's self-titled solo album, Little Criminals, Randy Newman, things that I'd picked up in San Diego, super cheap, that are just great albums, many of which I have listened to on CD many times over. And there is something that's just more satisfying about listening to a record. I can't honestly remember the last time I played a CD. And I have thousands of them. I'm looking at the possibility of unloading some of them, because I just don't listen to them. And if I have the record, then I'll put the record on over listening to the CD. I like sitting there with the sleeve, the artwork, with the liner notes, and I actually enjoy having to get up and turn the side over. There's something about that that's just immensely satisfying to me, and how outside of listening to Spotify at work and in the car, that's the way that I experience music these days, is through records. And I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying going through and flipping through albums and bins and finding some things, like, oh, I haven't heard this in forever. This is a great album. Or, even getting new stuff. I know that the digital versions are, there's always the argument, but the science behind it, I'm sure, is that the digital version of something is better, longer lasting, gonna hold up. But I don't know. It's interesting. And I was born in 82, so I did grow up with having records all around. There's something to that, I think, also, that's kind of a comfort thing, nostalgia sort of thing. But I did form most of my musical tastes in the 90s, and that's, the heyday of the CD. And as I mentioned, I have thousands of them, and some things that I can't replace, some things that were never issued on vinyl. So I'll always have those. unless I need to sell them for, I don't know, food or rent or to pay for my drug habit that I may consider taking up somewhere down the line if things get really bad. No, just kidding. Drug habits are just too expensive. There's too much. I don't have the time commitment for that. So I had the opportunity to, thanks to Carly and Mark at Yab Yum, I met Michael at an Arizona. I'm going to forget the organization name. It's not gonna come to me at the moment. But a meeting of arts organizations. And we got to talking, and I asked him if he was interested in doing the podcast, and he said yes. And so we sat here and chatted for a while. He's led an interesting life. Certainly, his band has had an interesting life. Starting in the East, in the Rust Belt, and establishing an audience, and then starting over here in Phoenix, and we talk about that at length, and how it's been for him since he relocated out here and picked up the band again, and it was a lot of fun talking to him. We have a great music conversation in there, and I look forward to talking to him again. And you should check out buRgandy juRk. Their latest album is Keeping That Pipe Dream Alive, and you can find that, again, go to buRgandyJuRk.com, and you can follow them on Twitter and Facebook and whatnot, and I encourage you to do so. And we'll go ahead and get into that conversation with Michael, and see you on the other side. It's surprisingly easy, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Everything's always way longer than you need it to be, except when you need it to be long, and then it's too short.
It's an inch too short. Then I think this might break the wire inside too short.
Exactly. Yeah, just kind of on the edge there. All right. That's going to do it.
And rule number 1 of audio equipment, never upgrade. Once you get it working, never upgrade.
Yeah, pretty much. Although this was an upgrade. I had the Zoom H4 for a little while, and then I was like, it was great if I just needed to talk to one other person.
Yeah.
But as soon as I had 2 or 3 people in, I was like, well, I ran into enough situations of having an entire band in that I was like, okay, I'd better.
Yeah. So do you have multiple. The additional 2-track?
Yeah, I do. I have a couple of different mic plugins there. Actually, it came in a pinch. One time I forgot a cable that I needed for. Well, I didn't bring a second mic for. It was going to be all poets except for one poet had an accompanist, and I didn't have a mic for them. That's what it was. Okay. So I'm like, okay, but I have this mic that'll catch, if I get the recorder down by the amp they were using, then I can get that and also pick them up on the regular mic. Like,
piece of cake.
Done. Yeah. Worked out well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you meet Carly and Mark and the Yab Yum crew?
Just stalking them.
Stalking.
No, I mean, they're, in my personal opinion, they carry a lot of weight in the music and art scene in this town.
Yeah.
And I stumbled upon them just because I like to read about music.
Mm-hmm.
And they had some articles about, press kits and bios and things like that, most of which is information I know, but to read newer articles because times change and people look for different stuff.
Sure.
And I came across their articles consistently and just kept saying, wow, this is really helpful, to the point where I have some of their articles saved in my shortcuts bar.
Oh, wow.
Because it's, I want to reference this or I want to reference that. And it was just really good information.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so obviously from there, it's, well, geez, if they this much information and this influential, I got to know them. Like, I got to get in touch with them. So then it was just, that's when it became stalking and, you know, relentless, frightening. And
well, sometimes, I mean, it's a relatively small arts world, right? You kind of have to, you kind of got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. Well, but it's also, you know, their level of influence creates quite the endorsement.
Yeah.
You know, so it's, I'm assuming you know who Every Show Joe is.
Yeah.
So he's kind of the same way of, if you're playing a show and you look out in the audience and he's there, that means there must be something big about your show that either they felt, you know, Yab Yum felt was important to review, or Every Show Joe felt it was important to show up to.
Mm-hmm.
It was, because it's, you know, well, if there's 10 shows and I'm going to go to that one, you must be doing something right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so Yab Yum actually just reviewed our last show, and it meant the world to me.
Nice.
Because it was just, I didn't even know they were there. Otherwise I would have behaved. But
that's kind of a reason for them not to let you know they're there,
Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I got a message from them then a couple days later, like, hey, I took these pictures and we were going to review your stuff. Can I have your set list?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and I typed out the email, oh, that's great, thank you very much. And then, you know, you do that thing where you just dance around for the next half hour going, yes, yes, yes. Because it means the world, you know, where a publication that has that much weight and that much influence, and they have that much weight and that much influence because they care that much. Like, this isn't something they're doing because, oh, well, this is what the kids want. They're doing it because this is what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And they're fascinated by it. They're interested in it. And so it's purely just passionate. And that's why it means so much when they say, hey, we're going to review something you did, because they felt a passion for it. Like, they experienced it and went, wow, this is really great. We need to, we want the people we know and that follow us to know about this. Mm-hmm. And that's a huge deal.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, especially for the music scene, they're hugely influential. Now, it was. I mean, they're fun people to know too. I mean,
that's true.
They're just great people. Well, let's go back a little bit and make it more about you and less about Carly and Mark.
All right.
Are you a relatively recent Phoenix transplant? I was reading up on your band. It said something about born in the fires of Philly or something. Right? Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh. Okay.
Yeah. So I moved out here in 2008 because I don't know if you've ever been there, but it snows and it's cold, and it does not snow and it is not cold in Phoenix.
This is very true. It is. It can be blisteringly hot, but yeah.
I moved out here for the heat.
That's what I hear. Having lived here since I was 10, I wonder at the people who say that they would trade the heat over the snow.
That's me.
Yeah.
When I touch my steering wheel, so as we speak, it is 117 degrees outside, and as I touch my hand to the steering wheel and I feel the searing flesh, I go, that's what I came here for. You know, it hurts, but it hurts so good.
It's a John Mellencamp song.
Yeah. That might be an extreme example, but yeah, I in Pittsburgh it hits like 90 degrees with 90% humidity.
Sure, yeah.
And it's awful.
Yeah.
It's just terrible.
Well, that I don't know how you move in that kind of stuff. Yeah. If it gets humid here, I'd start to weep, you know.
Yeah.
But then the tears just evaporate, you know, not evaporate. They just accumulate with the rest of the moisture on my skin. I don't know how people deal with that. And further, because Pennsylvania is like central east, right? So like kind of a little bit north of like the south, but not quite. I'm trying to picture my U.S. map.
Yeah, I mean, it's right. I mean, it's, you know, Lake Erie touches the top of Pennsylvania, so it's right at the Great Lakes.
Okay.
And then Pittsburgh is like the southwest corner of that.
Okay. So then during the winter you get all the like